200 push-ups a day for 7 days. What effect would this have on my body? That's what I set out to find in this experiment, doing 1,400 push-ups over the course of 7 days as a university student. As a calisthenics athlete, push-ups are foundational for many advanced skills and are excellent for building muscular endurance, pushing strength, core strength, and muscle in the chest, shoulders, and triceps. Over the past couple of months, I've been focusing solely on strength-based work, using very high intensities and very low volumes. Due to this, my muscular endurance has fallen. Additionally, low volume training burns far fewer calories than training with extremely high volumes, so my weight has increased over the past few months, which makes doing calisthenic skills far harder. Because of this, I've lost the ability to do several calisthenic skills which I used to be able to do. I also injured my shoulder 2 weeks ago, so decided to take a break from heavy lifts, and with nothing else to do, I decided to try to improve my muscular endurance and basic calisthenic strength. First, I had to set out some guidelines for this experiment. I tried to make it pretty flexible since I knew that I was going to be busy over the course of the week, so here's the rules that I settled on. Firstly, I could do the push-ups throughout the day as long as I hit the target goal of 200 by the end of each day. Second, I could do whatever push-up variations I felt like, as long as they were harder than regular push-ups. So I was allowed to knock out 200 reps of anything from regular, diamond, wide, pike push-ups, but I wouldn't be allowed to just rep out 200 knee push-ups or incline push-ups and call it a day. Number 3, I had to record my push-ups every day so that I could check that my form was decent enough. One thing that I'll quickly note now is that on some days I allowed myself to do faster reps where I would bounce out of the bottom of each rep and not fully lock my elbows at the top. This was in response to a video that the Pioneer put out just the week before about the effectiveness of prisoner-style workouts, and I'll link it in the description below. But essentially he explained that this style of training would put the pecs under more tension and improve their explosive power more than strict calisthenics push-ups. Finally, number 4, I wouldn't do the push-ups on consecutive days, but have a rest day in between to give my muscles a chance to rest and recover, and hopefully maximize the benefits that I would gain from this challenge. With the planning out of the way, it was time to get started.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad.
To start this challenge on day 1, I tested my maximum push-ups and managed to hit 50, then continued on to see how quickly I could complete the 200 push-ups. I ended up finishing the workout in 13 minutes and 26 seconds and set the goal of beating 12 minutes by the end of day 7. While performing the push-ups, my form felt fine, but when I reviewed the footage, I realized that I was cheating a lot of reps, either by not fully locking out my elbows at the top of the rep, or by ending my set when I was halfway through the last rep. On the second day of this experiment, I started with 40 push-ups in the morning, really focusing on locking out my arms at the top of each rep. I was out for the whole day, and when I got back, I did 110 push-ups, mixing in some explosive, diamond, pike, fingertip, and archer push-ups just for some variation. When doing the regular and explosive push-ups, I could really feel it in my pecs, especially the stretch at the bottom of each rep. Interestingly, I didn't feel sore throughout the day at all, but the moment I started doing push-ups, I could really feel it in my pecs. I finished up the night with another 50 push-ups after showering before heading to bed. Day 3 again started with me testing a max set of regular push-ups, focusing on good form, and to my surprise, I managed to hit 50, which is the same number as on day 1, but with significantly better form. I'd been expecting my max to fall throughout the experiment, at least for the first few days, as I got more tired and sore. But on day 3, I was already seeing results, with an equal number of reps but better form, which is one mode of progression in calisthenics. This time, I did my push-ups far more spread out throughout the day, in lots of 20 to 70, mixing in tricep, explosive, and regular push-ups. This worked great for me, and I realized that it could actually be a viable option for training on days that I knew that I was going to be too busy to fit a full workout in, since I could easily knock out 20 to 40 reps in under a minute. Doing this regularly throughout the day would quickly add up to several hundred push-ups, which could potentially substitute for a workout on any given day, especially if I chose the push-up variations intentionally. In terms of soreness, I could still feel the soreness that I was feeling on day 2, but it was significantly less severe and much easier to get the push-ups done. Additionally, it only started once I'd already done about 120 push-ups. Day 4 started strong, with me hitting a new max of 55 push-ups in the morning. However, when I reviewed the footage, I realized that yet again my elbows weren't locking out at the top of each rep. This meant that my form was quite similar to how it was on day 1, but either way, that was still progress, going from 50 to 55, so I was still pretty happy with that. Later that day, I went on to do some wall-assisted handstand push-ups, followed by a drop set of pike push-ups and regular push-ups. I did another 40 push-ups in the afternoon, evening and night that day, but nothing special happened with those and I forgot to record them as well. But again, this simply highlights the flexibility of this training style, since at any point in the day I could just drop and do 40 reps whenever I had to wait a minute for something to get done or load, and it took no extra time out of my day. On the morning of day 5, I really focused on my form, making sure to use a full range of motion and locking my elbows at the top of every rep. I managed to knock out 45 reps, which was lower than my max on day 3, which had similar form. Throughout the day, I did more push-up variations, doing 40 diamond push-ups, followed by 15 eccentric handstand push-ups and pike push-ups, then finishing in the late afternoon with a mixture of diamond, regular, explosive and pike push-ups. One thing to note is that at this point I wasn't feeling sore at all anymore, which meant that the push-ups were much easier to complete and I could really focus on doing some of the harder variations. Day 6 started strong as I managed to hit 55 consecutive push-ups, focusing on getting a full range of motion and locking my elbows at the top of each rep. That was a new max for this challenge, and while I've hit around 65 to 70 consecutive reps before, after doing this challenge, I think that it's very likely that my form on those push-ups wasn't as good as I thought it was. So from now on, I'm going to be counting 55 as my maximum number of push-ups. Again, throughout the day, I focused on variations including explosive, diamond, fingertip and wide push-ups, and I finished the day strong. Unfortunately, after day 6, I ended up flying back to Melbourne for uni, and due to the fact that I didn't get any good sleep, so I was very tired, along with the heap of work that we were immediately thrown into, I didn't end up finishing the 7th day of push-ups, so day 6 was the last day of this challenge for me. Alright, so what were the results of this experiment? Well, looking back at the data, I realised that there were several inconsistencies which made it hard to come to any definite conclusions, such as the fact that my form on day 1 and day 6 were very different. Having said that, my maximum push-ups on day 1 was only 50 with poor form, whereas on day 6 I managed to hit 55 with much better form. While I didn't test it, I'm fairly confident that had I used the same form as I used on day 1, I would have been able to hit over 60 push-ups, probably around 65, given that my max on day 2 was 10 lower than it was on day 1 when I improved my form. I think that the biggest lesson that I learned from this experiment, and what I'm really going to take away, is that it's important to film yourself while working out, at least every now and then, to give yourself a form check. On both day 1 and day 4, it really did feel like I was using proper form on the push-ups, and I wouldn't have known that I wasn't locking my elbows had I not filmed the reps and reviewed the footage. In my defense, I don't usually do my reps that quickly, and the speed did make it harder to be aware of my body position. But from now on, whenever I do push-ups, I'm going to be actively thinking about my form, specifically locking my elbows at the top of each rep. Another goal that I have is to hit 100 consecutive push-ups at some point, and to continue reaping the benefits of this experiment, I'm considering doing one set of push-ups to my max every morning after waking up. Given that by day 5 I wasn't feeling sore at all from the push-ups, I don't think that this would negatively affect my training in any way, and it will be a great way to keep my muscular endurance up, given that the majority of my training is high intensity and low volume. Alternatively, I might just add a set or two of push-ups to failure at the end of my upper body workouts, or try experimenting with both and see which one works better. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you have any requests for experiments or challenges that you'd like me to do in the future, drop it down in the comments and I might try it. If you made it all the way, thank you so much for watching. If you took anything away from this video, make sure you smash like, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.